gonna go rogue. Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we have something a little bit different. I don't think I've made any trousers or shorts on the channel yet, and I'm going to today. Continuing with our flannel theme from a couple weeks ago, I have this beautiful flannel. It's like a brown and it's got like camel, white, and blue. The plan for this fabric is to make they're called Nasrin Pants from moodfabrics.com. It's a free pattern. I will leave it linked below so you can go and download it if you want to. I have not tried it yet. I have not made a mock-up, so we're gonna have some fun with that. I have made shorts from Mood before. I made the eucalyptus shorts. Highly recommend. They're very cute. They fit really well. The only hiccup I had was like the conversion from centimeters to inches, because all of the Mood fabrics patterns are in the imperial system, and obviously I use the metric system. I got a bit confused with that and cut out the wrong size, but once I actually made them in my size, they were fine. So I'm thinking that the sizing is going to be pretty similar, and I mean, even the pattern is pretty similar. I'm confident that they'll fit. I got this fabric from like a market back home when I was visiting in January. I went with my mother-in-law to check out the market because she told me they had lots of fabric. So yes, I have 2 meters of this. So yeah, let's get sewing. If you've never worked with a PDF pattern before, I'll quickly talk you through it. After you download the pattern and print out the test page to check the scale, you can then print the rest of the pattern and start putting it together. I find this really fun, like putting a puzzle together. When you've got the whole thing taped together, you can cut out the pieces in your desired size, just like you would any other pattern. I sometimes use a highlighter to go over the size that I want before cutting, because it can get a little bit confusing. And then it's time to do the fabric puzzle. I'm really happy with my cutting of this pattern because I only used around 1.5 meters, so I still have a good chunk to make something else with. I transferred the markings of the pattern onto my fabric using tailor's chalk. In this case, I only needed the pocket fold line, the back darts, and the front pleats. Before I moved on to the sewing, I also went ahead and cut out the interfacing for the waistband. I used the Vilene Vliazeline H310, folded over twice so I can cut out 4 pieces in one go. I pinned my darts flat like I always do, and also pinned the pleats. And then I stitched the darts and the top of the pleats to keep them in place. And of course, I pressed both the darts and the pleats after sewing them. Now it's pocket time. They get stitched to the front of the trousers with right sides together along that curved seam. I tried to pattern match as best as I could, especially considering that I hadn't even thought about pattern matching up until this very second. After I stitch that in place, I'm also going to serge that seam because I don't want to leave it raw. I decided to add a little top stitching along that line because it'll look nice and keep everything in place. Then I fold the pocket along the fold line and stitch it along the bottom edge and the side up until the seam that I just top stitched. When I pivot in the corners, I like to use my seam gauge to help me stay inside the seam allowance. I'm only serging the bottom edge though because the side will get taken care of when I sew the side seams. Now I'm going to stitch the front pieces together at the front rise below the fly extensions with right sides together, and I'm also going to sew the back pieces together at the back rise. I was gonna finish this edge, but I don't know how to because obviously we have the fly extension right there, which makes it really hard for this to be serged. But I don't want to leave this edge raw. And I was thinking, wait a minute, how am I going to add a zipper to the fly extension? I've done this once, and then I thought, you know what would look really cute is if I just put like a side zipper in. I'm thinking I'm just gonna cut off the fly extension and add a zipper on the side and call it a day. And this would just be so much quicker and so much easier. And I think like overall, it will give me a more vintage look. I'm gonna go rogue. I like to live on the edge. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop that off. I'm really excited. So I marked where I thought the raw edge should be and I just cut it off. And then I went back and stitched the whole seam closed like I did for the back and serged and pressed both the front and the back pieces. Now I picked what side I wanted my zipper to be in and closed the side seam of the trousers on the opposite side. And while I'm here, I might as well stitch the front and back together at the inseam too. After stitching that seam, I serged it, and I also went ahead and serged the seams I will be adding the zipper to separately to make it easier later. The last thing I did on my first day of sewing was stitch the side seams on the waistband pieces. The next day, I inserted my zipper. I used a 40 centimeter zipper and hardly trimmed it down to make it easier to get dressed and undressed. Then I closed the zipper, I admired my work, and closed the seam below it. Okay, so I'm just trying on the trousers, and I wanted to give you a little update of how it's going. I still haven't done the waistband or the hem or any of that. I just finished the zipper, and I wanted to try them on to see if the fit is okay and if like my little moving about of the zipper didn't, completely ruin the trousers. I don't think it did. I think I did a pretty good job. Here we have the trousers. I think I did a really good job with the zipper, not such a good job with the pattern matching, but I'm not like mad about it, so on this side it's a bit better. They are a little bit roomy still, but I'm gonna have a look at myself in the mirror properly and decide how I feel. Okay, update. I had to play around and I realized that if I made the darts at the back a little bit bigger, the fit was way better. I pinned them right there, and I think that looks way better. Pinning darts behind your back on your own is challenging. Right, I'm gonna take these off and remake my darts, measure them, and then mark that in my pattern so that next time I don't have to think about it again. I don't have to work on the fit again. And that's exactly what I did. I probably did this in a much more complicated way than I could have, but whatever. It all worked out in the end, so it's fine. That was exactly what we needed. That's much better. Now I could finally move on to the waistband. Because I changed the closure of the trousers, I also had to change the way that the waistband was going to be stitched. I think I may have thought about it so hard that I got confused and made a mistake because, spoiler alert, I stitched it upside down. But I didn't realize until quite a bit later. Honestly, it's not a huge deal. It didn't change the fit of the trousers, so it's just something that I'm going to have to pay better attention to next time. Next, I stitched my tag on the facing, pressed the seam allowance up, and stitched the facing to the waistband along the side edges and the top. Then I trimmed that down and clipped my corners and turned the waistband right side out before giving it a really good press. Even though I'm planning on top stitching around the waistband, I still slip stitched the facing by hand on the inside first. I do feel like I get a better finish like this, but I mostly do this out of habit at this point. After I top stitched the waistband, I could go ahead and work on the hem. I pinned the length that I wanted and cut off the excess, leaving a 4 centimeter hem allowance. I then folded it over twice and stitched it down on the machine. Finally, I stitched a hook and bar closure at the waistband extension, and I was ready for the reveal. Sit. Did that? Okay. I'm sorry, I have to do this wrap up this way because this boy is being very clingy today. You're gonna look at this beautiful little face, as well as this beautiful little face. So, wrap up time. Right. I'm really excited about these. I've worn them all day today and they're extremely comfortable. I'm wearing them right now and I'm sitting on the floor and I'm super comfortable. Okay, bye. I love the hack that I did to cut the fly extension and move the zipper to the side seam. I think that came out perfect. So right here where you have the zip and the extension, obviously this is the wrong way around, so the extension is supposed to be going this way like that, and it should have like a button there, but I put a hook and bar closure and I made the extension go on the inside, and that way it doesn't look like there's an extension. In the end, I think I figured out how to make that mistake work for me. Yeah, I'm really excited about them. I'm already have a bunch of ideas of how to style them. Give them a try if you are interested, and let me know what you think I should make next or what you want to see from me next. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!